Hey everybody, it's Sydney and welcome to my manga reading log for December of 2025. This is going to be my last video uploaded in 2025. I'm going to go ahead and get started, starting with Kingdom Volume 1 by Yasuhisa Hara, long-awaited, highly anticipated legendary series from Japan. Ow. I really did enjoy the start to the series. Nothing's like extremely revolutionary in terms of shonen, but all of the concepts were executed very well. The art style's really cool too. I really enjoyed it overall. Next up, we've got Insomniacs After School Volume 11. Um, oh God. Okay, the cat's being a little frisky, so give me one moment here. Lupin? No. All right, next up, we've got Insomniacs After School Volume 11. They're introduced to the new first years in this volume. They're trying to act as good seniors to those first years, act as good senpais. I'm enjoying it so far. It was a good way to kind of reflect on how their characters have grown and how they're able to now manage this club. Next up, we've got Trojan X Volume 10. We had a lot of shit happening in this volume with the tower specifically. They're beginning the actual fight against the tower, and that's a lot of intense battling going on, and it's really good. I really did enjoy this one. Then we've got Boys of Best Volume 11. We're diving into the backstory of the author in this volume and his relationship with the main character's mother, and how it's kind of reflecting on how he is nowadays, and it kind of mirrors sort of the main character's philosophy and his ideas about the suicide pact. Next, we've got the final volume of Why Ray Liotta Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion, Volume 9. I did really enjoy this series. It was a great villain, not villainess, great otome, not even otome, great female-led isekai Korean manhwa thing. I did really like in this volume the introduction of the goddess reincarnate, not goddess reincarnated, the goddess taking a form to kind of offer suggestions to Raeliana for how she wants to have her ending go. That was a really cool thing for the series to do right at the end here. Then we've got another fantastic manhwa with Villains Are Destined to Die, Volume 8. Major plot twist in this volume that I can't really go over, but I really did enjoy that. It got me in the emotions, and I was very much not expecting it. As always, the art's super beautiful in this series. Then we've got Takahashi from the Bike Shop, Volume 3. We had some conflict in the relationship this volume, along with the main character moving on to greener pastures in terms of her job, because clearly her job was not treating her properly. And that's leading to a lot of conflict that's arising between her and the main male lead. Then we've got Not So Wicked Stepmom, Volume 7. First half of this volume, we are diving a lot into her main character's relationship with her brother and how the way she was raised affects how she is now, especially comparing that to how she was raised and how she existed in Korea when she had problems with her weight and problems with perceiving herself as pretty. Everybody saying she's not good enough. So that kind of reflected a lot in the character she assumed in this story as well. So that was really interesting. At the end, we also have, I think, like the second half, they're going on a trip to a different part of the country so they can actually see the beach because the daughter really wants to see the beach. And then we have a whole new plot point strung out of that involving something akin to the Little Mermaid. So that's interesting, and we'll see more of that in the next volume. Then we've got Bocchi the Rock Volume 7. This one, they're actually starting to make their first album, and they also are meeting with, I think they're, let me make sure I'm not misunderstanding that. Yes, they're releasing their first album, and in doing that, they're also collaborating with a pretty well known musical group under their label, and they get to meet a girl who has a very similar personality to Bocchi, where she's extraordinarily shy and has a difficult time with social situations. So it's cool seeing Bocchi kind of reflected in somebody completely different than her. Then we've got Beware the Villainess Volume 5. They are finishing the arc about saving. I don't know if it's saving the werewolves, but basically defeating the big bad werewolf. And then we have a lot of the male leads kind of showing some growth and acting differently than the than the I don't want to say the villainess. What's her name? Melissa. Yeah, Melissa von der Rat. Um, than Melissa was expecting them to have. So it's kind of confusing her, and she's wondering why things are happening the way they are. And she's also being super oblivious to love interest and their emotions about her. So not too unexpected for a villainess. Then we've got Senpai is in a Toko Noko, Volume 3. In this volume, we've got the basically the relationships coming straightforward, centerfold. I can't think of the word. We have the main boy who's vying for the affections of the main guy, who plays a sort of a secondary role in this. Like, we see a bit of his internal conflict with having a crush on his classmate, who is childhood friend who he wishes was a girl and he had the feelings for, so he wouldn't be so conflicted about it because he's struggling with his sexuality. Then we've got the girl who's crushing on the main lead, who is essentially having like a whole existential crisis about wanting to love somebody and wanting to be the most important thing in somebody's life. And she has a lot of struggles with that in this volume. It's very emotional. Next up, we've got Nina the Starry Bride, Volume 12. We are getting some hope for Nina in this volume. Last volume was a lot of depressing things happening to her, but seemingly things might be going on the up and up. She might be able to find a new path in life, especially since she's able to meet some people that she wasn't expecting to meet again. Then we've got Medalist Volume 11. We finished the first international meet in this volume, and we're also focusing a lot on how she can potentially grow further and how she's still outpaced and outmatched even at this level, not due to her tricks not being great. It's just not being as good as all of the others. We also have the coach trying to learn how to get better and also potentially trying to get poached by a different coaching organization. So that's really fun. Really interesting, I should say. Next, we've got Gachi Akuta. I don't know if it's Gachi Akuta or Gachi Akuta. I always say Gachi Akuta. Never know if it's wrong. We're finishing up a bunch of fights this volume. There's this thing that I like in a lot of these shonen action series where it's the whole group of people. A lot of them are fighters. They all have their individual fights and they all do their own thing. I really enjoyed that, and it was a really cool thing to happen in this volume. And we're finishing that up, and we're getting some more lore about the main character's object. Then we've got the fourth volume of Punch Drunk Love. They are finally seemingly developing their relationship past just fuck buddies and turning it into something more concrete. And both of them are kind of changing in ways for each other. I don't think I showed anything explicit there. I'll have to check again. I am not flipping through Painter of the Night. First volume of this series by Beyond Duck. Basically just a guy who is obsessed with this one guy's gay erotic paintings and essentially finds out who he is, finds out what he does, and wants him to make paintings for him. He doesn't want to, though, because he feels ashamed about it. So there's an internal conflict there and a lot of sex. So definitely do not read this if you're under the age of 18. Very much smut, smut, smut. Next, we've got My Twisted Eating Disorder. This is a one-shot by Nagata Kobe, the creator of a lot of these other one-shots talking about her difficulties in life. She's had a lot of troubles going on in her life. This one's about her eating disorder, which kind of was comorbid with her alcoholism that she was struggling with for a while there. It's a sad read, but it's really interesting to read about things that are happening in her life. Then we've got Monster Cats Volume 3. Not really too much to say about this one. Couple new cats introduced in this volume, but Monster Cats is another Bondania work. Great, fun, cute. Nothing that's like going to stick with you and like you're going to remember them super, super well. Next, we've got Dear Door, a series about a cop investigating a lot of these weird incidents that are happening and finding out that essentially demons are opening doors through people, and he gets a door open through him where he's connected with this demon here. and he's trying to figure out what's going on, how he can stop it, how he can better fix the situation. There's smut in this volume. It's not as egregious as some of the others. It's only really near the end. I don't know if it's going to get more egregious in the later volumes, but I enjoyed it. It was cool. It was interesting, I should say. Then we've got Cupid Struck by Lightning, Volume 1 by Mita Suzumaru. This is essentially a guy who is the matchmaker for the school. Like, a girl asks him, hey, let me know about this guy if he's interested in me, that sort of stuff, and he'll be able to find it out. But a girl asks him to check on this new guy, and they want to know how he got his scar, and because of that, he tries to open up to that new guy and learn about him and learn how he got his scar, and ends up kind of offending him and developing feelings for him on his own. So he wants to kind of pursue him himself, kind of opening up to these feelings of homosexuality that I think are new to him. I can't remember for sure. Then we've got Monster and Ghost Volume 1, really interesting series about a guy who is very big, very bulky, has an intimidating face and a sharp glare, and a ghost who I can't remember if I think he does something for him, so the ghost attaches himself to him. But essentially, it's a series about like looking past the outer appearances of people and seeing who they truly are, which the monster and the ghost see each other for who they truly are, and a sort of relationship seems to have developed between the two of them. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to go. There's not any smut in this volume. I don't know if there's going to be smut because it's a ghost, but there was a pretty decent cliffhanger at the end of this first volume. Next, we've got Father, I Don't Want This Marriage, Volume 5. In this volume, we are finally dispelling the miscommunication and misunderstanding between the main male lead and the main female lead. She finally finds out that the prince is this person she's been seeing all this time. And we also get to see how his family treats her and how his family is reacting to things happening around them, particularly with his sister and with the main female lead here, whose name is Juvelian. Juvelin or Juvelian? Juvelian. But yeah, I really like this series too. Next up, we've got the Otaku Love Connection Volume 3. A bit of a turbulence between the main two characters in this volume. Very stupid thing to be concerned about, but issue that happens between the two of them, where they're trying to figure out who is the top and who is the bottom, and their relationship that they're pining after. That's kind of like the main sort of little part about this volume. It's nothing too different from a lot of the other previous volumes. It's just fun, stupid comedy involving a lot of shipping of a lot of different people. Then we've got The Emperor's Caretaker Volume 5. This volume we've got Sauron actually meeting Linhua's family and her mother specifically. We also learned some about Linhua's family circumstances and the people around them, which is interesting, and I enjoyed that. Then we've got I'm in Love with the Villainess Volume 9, introducing some more political intrigue than we usually have in this series, because she's actually having to join this sort of secret service to investigate higher up people in not royalty, but nobility that are suspected of committing financial fraud. I think it's tax evasion specifically. And a lot of the people that they're suspecting are people very close to the main characters. So they're having to kind of figure out how they can figure this information out and get it out of those people that are close to them. I enjoyed that. Then we've got Daily Report about My Witch Senpai Volume 5. This volume we have some jealousy between the male lead and I guess the male lead and this other girl that is interested in the witch senpai. Of course, she's not interested romantically, but he's kind of like still being a little protective and a little possessive of her, wanting to kind of have her time more to himself. We also have the idea of these influencers on social media who are like, they're witches and they're able to do these really cool special tricks. And we have the main character whose name is Shizuka, trying to kind of do that herself, trying to show her magic to other people because she learned it inspired people. And we kind of get to see how this new coworker affects her perception of herself as a witch. Then we've got the condemned villainess goes back in time and aims to become the ultimate villain, volume 5. This volume, she's kind of introduced to somebody from her previous life who was at the brothel she used to work at. And she has a lot of conflict happening with that. We get to learn about their relationship and see how things are different for her the second time around. And she's also helping this girl who's struggling with her appearance because she's got very large breasts, and she's insecure about it because the other women are gossiping and being mean about it. So she's teaching her how to better be more comfortable in her body and to kind of let things other people say not affect her. So that was enjoyable. Then we've got At 2500 in Akasaka, Volume 5. In this volume, both of them are filming their own separate projects in different parts of the world, and they both have their own complications. One of them's having to portray his father, and one of them's having to work with a director who is not great with people. Like he's not super nice and personable to a lot of people. So they're both struggling with that. And it's nice to see how that's affecting their relationship and affecting each other. I also have not been flipping through these because I keep forgetting. Then we've got Atom the Beginning, Volume 12. A lot of this volume is dedicated to a fight involving this new robot from the lab that had the 3 girl robots, who is extremely advanced and strong. We also do have some more information about, I think it's Gusweistin, the AI, and how it's potentially evolved and how they might be developing a new version of Gusweistin. It's probably not the name of it, but whatever. Then we've got Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun Ira Mafia Edition, Volume 2. In this volume, we introduce Clara in this universe. Kind of different than how she was in the original universe, which is Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. She's like this sideshow performer in a circus, and we get to explore why she was in that circus, where her family is, and how they're going to get her to join the mafia. Very enjoyable. Next, we've got Shoot Juliet Down by Komachi Katsura, Volume 1. This is a series about a male host who is trying to take down the top-ranking male host because he wants that spot for himself. So in order to do that, he tries to learn more about that host, and they end up kind of developing this relationship with each other. So that's all that we've gotten from the first volume, but it's very interesting so far. Then we've got Yotsuya Ghost Knight. And I'm not flipping through this one. This is smut. About an exorcist who learns the best way to exorcise ghosts at this point in his life is to learn how to squirt. So he has to work with an adult film star to learn how to squirt. Because coincidentally, he found this out at one instance. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but they form a relationship and start developing a relationship based on that. So it's real dumb in the best way. All right, next up we have Reincarnated Mafia Dating Sim. A Yakuza heiress becomes the top-ranked villain's romantic target, Volume 2. And in this volume, she's going to the school for the first time, and she gets to meet the main villain of the series, who it turns out, knows stuff about her she doesn't want him to know. I think it's about her family, I believe. So he blackmails her into attending a ball with her. The series is pretty interesting so far. I enjoy it. It's weird seeing the mafia elements with the Yakuza elements that she was raised with. So makes for an interesting dichotomy here. Next is The Prince of the Villainess's Way, Volume 4. And in this volume, she's trying to save the people from the hidden village from an attack that's going to happen to them in the future. And she's also, I believe she has to go there to get something to save. Yes, she has to go there to get something to save. I believe it's saving Fiona. I don't remember exactly what the details are, but a lot of this is having to basically figure out how to communicate that to them without spilling too much about how she knows all these things that are going to happen in the future. And next, we've got Shy, Volume 11. In this volume, Shy is having to limit her use of the heart shift bracelets because she's being targeted by the Amariruku, something like that. So there's issues that happen with that. They're also introduced to these 6 heroes that are seemingly unassociated with the grander hero association who have like their own squad of heroes, and she is trying to assist in some of the stuff that's happening with the Amari Diruku without using her hardship bracelets, so difficulties arise from that. I haven't really been super into Shy these last few volumes. I feel like I never really got extremely invested in it. I'm not entirely sure why. It's not like the writing's bad or anything. It's just something that doesn't click with me. Anyways, next we've got Lycoris Recoil Repeat Volume 1. This is an anthology, so it's just a lot of short stories about the Lyco Reco gang. It's cute, fun, good if you like Lycoris Recoil. Then we've got Lycoris Recoil, the actual series, Volume 4. And this one, they're actually spending, I think, the first half of it on an escort mission as bodyguards to try and prevent this person of interest from being attacked, being assassinated, and from there we also do get to see some more about the people that are targeting them and some more about specifically, oh gosh, the organization. Gosh, I'm rambling. Sorry, got distracted. Yes, still not caught up to where we are in the anime yet, but it's good so far, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, good volume, good series. Next, we've got Pink and Habanero, Volume 4, and in this volume, we have them seemingly finally getting their relationship together, and Brain. That's right. They have their date at the aquarium this volume, which does actually happen near the end. Not actually sure where it shows up in here. I think they might actually be setting up the date for the aquarium and not actually going there yet. Yeah, good. I love Pink and Habanero so much. It's a really fast, fun read whenever I read it. Next, we've got The Hitman Stands Volume 2. And in this volume, we actually have some more of his past coming up to bite him as he's confronted with the idea of having to have left the, I don't know if he's Yakuza or Mafia, but he's essentially haunted by the demons of his past. They're trying to kill him for what he's, so he won't be able to like tell any of the secrets of what's going on because he tried to retire, and you can't really retire from this life. I like the series. I like that it's a little bit more of a serious approach plot-wise, and it's not just every day him being silly, him being super serious with being obsessed with idols. There's also like an undergoing plot with it. Then we've got Elden Ring, Road to the Air Tree, Volume 7. This volume they're going to Nokron, so the main character is spending a lot of time with Blythe. And I do love Blythe's characterization in this series. I love Blythe in general, but his characterization's real silly in this one. Not knowing directions, being obsessed with Ronnie, and just being overall very stupid, which is the best way for him to be. Then we've got The Do-Over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor, Volume 6. This volume, they are on the run from... Actually, are they actively running? Okay, so they are trying to escape this area that they're in and meet up. Essentially, they're trying to escape and meet up at this area because they're still on the run from Hades, or from the people pursuing Hades, which is the current king, current emperor, whatever. This is still a little bit behind where the anime is, so I know it's going to happen, and there's a bit of a twist this volume, but I enjoy it aside from the really dumb age gap stuff. Then we've got Sleeping on Paper Boats Volume 1. This is the same author as it's another series. It's like Yakuza's Bias, Tekiyatsuda. This is a series about a screenwriter who writes very good screenplays, but the source of his inspiration always dies after he writes about them. So he's held off for it for a while, but he finds inspiration to write again. And there's a lot of complex things happening with his screenwriting and his character development, which is really, really interesting. This is a very good book so far. I think it's going to be one more volume, not sure. Then we have Mao volume 22, and in this volume, Nanoka is trying to perform an exorcism on her own, and she, of course, is not quite able to finish it, but it does show some growth, which I've been saying for the last several volumes. She's been trying to grow slowly into becoming more capable of an exorcist and a character on her own, in her own right. And we also do have some more lore dropped about the night where Sana died, that big eventful night before everything changed, which I do really like that they're kind of like sprinkling that into the plot and keeping it going for a longer period of time. I think it fits well for this long running type of series. Then we've got Sakamoto Days 19, and this volume has a lot of a massive fight in it with a very strong assassin. And we also do learn who is targeting Sakamoto finally. After 19 volumes, we learned who put the hit on him. Very intense fight, and I really did enjoy the plot developments in this along with the action. Then we've got One Piece Law's story. This is a novel about Law's backstory, elements that haven't been covered in the manga. But yeah, let me flip through the pages. You can see all the words. I guess there's some art. Let's see if I can get to one of the art pages. Or is there art? Well, yeah, there's a little bit of art, but nothing new. Just pictures from the manga. Yeah, very emotional and very well written, I would say. It did make me cry a couple of times, which is really a testament to the writing in this series. It's nothing super complex, very simple, but well done. Then we've got One Piece Volume 110, and we are getting close to finishing the Egghead arc. They are almost done escaping Egghead. And we also learned some revelations about the world government that have been kind of, these last few volumes, they've been trying to get through this message by Edison. Not Edison. Edison is one of the personas. Vegapunk. Vegapunk's broadcast where he's going over this stuff that the government does not want people knowing about, having to do with the celestial weapons and the government's use of the eternal flame. So really cool lore along with all the fights trying to get out. I enjoy One Piece a lot, as usual. Then we've got My Hero Academia Volume 42, and this is the final volume of My Hero Academia. My opinion on My Hero soured after the final arc started. I think the final arc was handled terribly, and this we wrapped up the final battle in this volume, and we have the aftermath and then the epilogue. I will say the epilogue, I do not get why people hated it so much. It wasn't great, but it really wasn't that terrible. But overall, I just meh on My Hero Academia after the final arc started. Then we've got Kakurabachi Volume 5, and we are finishing up the auction arc in this volume and starting the aftermath of that. Them having to deal with the events of what happened in the auction, cool fights, and some lore in this volume. But I love Kakurabachi so much. Then we've got Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 28. It's not too much I can show of this because there's a massive fight still happening that's been going on for like 5 volumes, but I feel like it's handling it better than My Hero handled the fight. It feels like there's more real stakes and more people who are affected by it, and it's not just drawn out unnecessarily. It feels like it being drawn out makes sense in the story. So I really do enjoy that. Can't talk too much about that in details because it's going to spoil what happens at the end of JJK. Then we've got Dark Gathering Volume 16, and I believe we finally finished the fight with the god in this volume. It's been several volumes since it started. It's been a very, very long, drawn-out, difficult fight, and we have potentially something bad that's happening after the fight ends, but we'll have to see once things settle down, once the dust settles. Then we've got Blue Box Volume 18. They are finishing the Nationals this volume, and a lot of this volume is spent with them just unwinding and going to the beach and having a nice time after intense, stressful matches that Taiki had to go through. Love Blue Box. Then we've got Akane Banashi Volume 14. This volume, Akane I believe she has some of her story. I don't know if she tells her own story in this one or if it's just, yes, She does have she does tell her own story because she is the opening act, I believe. Yeah, it's her final performance as Zenza, so she's opening to Shiguma. So we get to see Shiguma finally perform, and he's extremely, extremely talented at what he does. And it sets a good like goalpost for Akane to reach because he's a very, very accomplished, talented Rakugo, and that gets communicated pretty well in the series. So in the manga. Next up, we've got volumes 8 and volume 9 of Sakura Saku, and we finish up the subplot about the side romantic interests with, I believe we finished up the main character. What's her name? Saku, Fujigaya. We finished up Fujigaya's secondary love interest, and then we focused on Haruki's secondary love interest in these last two volumes, and them finally getting their relationship together. And this is one of those shoujo where it does end as soon as they get together, but overall, it was an enjoyable series, and I definitely would recommend it to people who like shoujo romance. I think it was good. Lastly, we have Colette Decides to Die, Volume 5. This is the halfway point in the series, I think. What is his name? Kotsume, yes. Kotsume, I feel like that's the Japanese word for otter, but I don't know. Kotsume's finally doing his test to get back into the good graces and work for Poseidon again. And then we also have some romance potentially developing between Colette and Hades finally. We'll have to see how that pans out. But overall, I do really like Colette Decides to Die, and I think Kotsume's arc is probably my favorite part of this series so far. I may be biased because I am an otter, so anyways, that is everything I read in December, or everything I read in November that I'm posting in December. I will talk to everybody next year, 2026, and I hope y'all have a happy holiday and stay safe. Bye bye, everybody.